Great memories from a fantastic month for our women's team, and joining me are the coach of the Matildas, Tom Sermanni, and goalkeeper Melissa Barbieri, and Craig Foster still with us. Welcome, Tommy. Welcome, Melissa. I just wondered whether, Melissa, whether you're aware of the celebrity status that this team received while you were over there. I mean, you had 600,000 television viewers for one game. It was just phenomenal here.
Well, you know, bits and pieces were sent back from here to where we were staying, and you know, it was told to us that a lot of people were watching and a lot of people were talking about us on the street, but it kind of didn't filter back until we got home, and you know, just going out to a restaurant and someone asked for a photo with me. So
well, you were the new golden girls of Australian sport, and you still are. Now, Tommy, expectations. Tell me about expectations. What were your honest, deep in your heart expectations, not hopes, expectations before you went to China?
We had, our expectations were to get to the quarter-finals. And like anything, once we got there, a lot is dependent on the draw. And we actually felt when we got there, had we drawn probably any other team except Brazil, we would have had expectations of getting to the semi-finals. But we kept it fairly low-key. The first thing we said is we wanted to win a game. And once we had done that, then obviously we wanted to get out of the group stages. And when we got to the quarter-finals, we hoped we might have got through to the semis.
OK, we're going to run some overlays of the games that you played, the 4 games that you played. Melissa, beginning with Ghana, I mean, is that the way the cookie crumbled in the end? You had a comfortable victory against Ghana. That was the start that you wanted. Was that what you expected?
yeah, it was definitely what we expected, but you know, on the day anything can happen, so we had to make sure we put the ball in the back of the net, and we made sure that we came across as winners and, you know, finished the day on a high. So yes, we knew we could do it, but just actually putting the goals on the scoreboard was another thing.
I guess from your perspective, Tommy, it was a good draw, wasn't it, to come up against them first in the group stage? I know you played them twice previously in World Cups, but I mean, their World Cup was pretty poor, so it was a good one first up and a great performance.
It was, and I think as well, because of the results in the previous World Cup, I think they underestimated us as well. I think they were anticipating, you know, the same Australia from 2003 and '99. So they were probably going into that game a little bit more confident than perhaps should have been. So it was a good draw for us, and it was a good way to get a good start.
And even the fact that you scored, you know, 4 goals, did you come out of that game with concerns defensively though? Because you know, you still gave Ghana a few opportunities, which really cost us later because we had this thing about conceding these early goals. Yeah,
it was. We actually spoke about it actually at half-time in the game. Is that we're very static defensively. We stayed square. We allowed players to get in behind us, which is something we specifically work on not allowing. And we seemed to do it. I don't know if it was maybe nerves in the first game or whatever. Unfortunately, you know, it was against Ghana, so we got away with it a couple of times, particularly early in the game. And I think we corrected that in the other 2 games as we went into the tournament.
How tough were the Norwegians and then the Canadians? Because both were, Melissa, tell me, they both were teams with good pedigrees. Yeah,
we knew that it was going to be tough games, and just really to knuckle down and make sure, you know, that we played the best football that we could. We knew they were going to be tough, and you know, just rankings on the world stage, they had the numbers against us, but we knew on any day that we can beat any team, so we put our best foot forward. And against Norway, there was a fantastic finish by Lisa.
Yeah,
and sometimes, you know, and it's just great. Australian football, usually it goes against us, but this time it actually, you know, went our way.
Tell me about the strategy with Lisa, Tommy, because she was the impact player, yet she was the star, if you like. But you didn't start with her until you played Brazil. So why was that?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that Lisa is actually a player who often prefers coming on and rather than starting the game.
That's rare in a player.
It's very rare in a player. It's a good thing when you're the coach having players that like doing that. Yeah. So she actually enjoys that role quite often, and is quite happy to come on or to start realistically. And you know, over the last 2 years, that's generally been her role in the team, and she's always felt that she can't last 90 minutes. She actually can, but she feels she can't.
Okay, is that because she feels that she's so energetic in her style of playing that you can't sustain that for 90 minutes.
She feels that way, and that's been a thing now. But obviously that barrier, I think, got broken down against Brazil when she played from the start of the game. And the reason that we played her from the start of the game in Brazil was that we had a few other players who were a bit bumped and bruised, so we felt that we couldn't afford to have her on the bench just in case we had to substitute other players. We felt that having two quick players up front would have caused Brazil some problems, and we did feel that she could go 90 minutes.
Yeah, now of course Brazil were very powerful in attack, Melissa, and you as the goalkeeper would have felt, I gather, under some pressure. You know, they can shoot from all sorts of distances. How did you feel that day?
Well, after the first 5 minutes, I felt pretty poor actually. But
thanks for asking.
Yeah, thanks for that. I feel really good, especially when you're just showing the goals going in. And
they weren't your fault.
Yeah, I mean, you can see they played against the US, and if they had to put any of those, the first few shots that they, they took against the US, if they had to put them top corner like they did against us, they could have had 6 or 7 against the US as well. So, I just went out there thinking, just be ready for anything. Just be ready for any shot from any angle. And unfortunately, they took every shot and every angle.
They hit a real purple patch. Tommy, you were worried before the game. I think you were certainly quoted in the press being concerned about their capacity to shoot from all sorts of distances.
Yeah, looking at the games that they played in the group stages, I mean, they scored 2 or 3 goals from 20, 25 yards. We're prepared to hit things. They've got, great technique. The problem is that you have to balance it out, because if you try not to give them space in front and they get in behind you, they're going to kill you as well. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place. But, we prefer them to have shots from distance than actually carve you up inside the box. And to be fair, the 2 goals they scored from distance were just magnificent strikes.
Taken. How did you read the penalty incident, Melissa?
I knew that it was outside the box, but for someone to call that like split-second decision, in game pressure, I can understand where the referee got the penalty from, because she took 2 steps and dove into the box. But yeah, you got to take those things with football. You got to take the good with the bad, and
well, you're very gracious.
I nearly got there in the penalty, but yeah, it was kind of mind games playing with that as well.
Okay, now what happens now? That's the next question. We are hearing all sorts of press reports about you and your teammates, or your some players getting already offers or getting tapped up, as they say, by the new professional league in the US. Do you think that's going to be the trend?
I think so. I think anybody who's in their right mind would want to play in the US, just because they get spoiled over there, really, with the amount of money they have with with colleges and the way the colleges gets treated. Like, there's a couple of girls there at the moment that are just absolutely getting spoiled with deals that they get at universities. So I can just imagine what the US are capable of in putting a league together.
What about the other one, just before I let you go, Tommy, is how the FFA is going to look after women's football now? There are calls for a new league, etc. I gather that's what you'd like to see happen.
Well, they get spoiled here, Les, as well, The girls, we spoil them no end.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, I think that's certainly on the drawing board now, that to get a league here, and that'll be a good thing from a lot of angles. It's not just about the Matildas. I think the importance of a league goes further than that in the totality of the development of women's football. I think we need to look seriously at our development programme for our younger girls, but we also need to have a domestic focus at the higher end, so that players can actually have a domestic profile here. So the National League becomes quite important.
And just very quickly, you're staying on, or are you going to the US?
I haven't spoken to Matt Hall recently to actually find out, but no, I'm quite happily staying on.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming, and congratulations again, Melissa and Tommy. Well done, and good luck with both your careers in the future.
Thank you.
Hey, Walshy.
Foz,